Hello, what the fuck is up? Welcome to episode number 12 of Barstool Bitcoin. Say hello to producer Kraser. What's going on, bud?
Yo, what's up, motherfuckers?
So, we got some good news today. All green today, pretty much. The market rebounded. Ethereum has just been taking a beating recently, soared up 18% today alone, back over $200. Bitcoin almost at 6,500. So where were we at with the predictions last week, Kraser?
So last week we had Dan with the over and good old Wild who couldn't make the show today with the under. So a little chirp chirp, Wild. Where are you, bud? Well, we pretty much finished even. So that's about as much chirping as I can give Wild and when he's not here. And I can't really chirp you because no one was really right or wrong. We're pretty much stayed steady, so we're in the middle. Dan, what do you think? What are we looking at this week? We got about 64, almost 6,500 now. Are we going up or are we going for a roller coaster down?
Yeah, 64.51 on Coinbase right now. I actually have a long position open for the short term for today. I'm looking to close it right around 6,600. I got it in the low 6,400s. So I think in the immediate short term, by the close of the week or over the weekend, we're going to see a bit of an up. But I do think we'll probably steady out around 66 to 6,700 range and we'll test the range high again and then potentially come back down. So I'm going to say I'm going to take the under for next week, under 64.50.
Dun dun dun. Dan with the under. All right. So you know what? I'm gonna take a stab at it this week, and since Wild's not here, I'm just gonna take a spot. So I'm gonna have to go just to be different. I want to go over. So if I'm right, I can give you a little chirp next week. Anyways,
So,
we'll see how that goes.
all right, cool. Well, I like it. You got a little bit of gambler in you. So you take the over. The total
That's
market
right.
cap went up today, 12 billion as a loan. Flush of green all over the screen today. Several of the top 20 coins are up with double-digit gains. Obviously, Ethereum's leading the pack here, up over 18%. Actually, I think it's up almost 20% right now at the time we're shooting this. And there was some crazy accelerated losses over the last week. Ethereum is still down about 10% on the week, even with the surge today. And I think most of that is due to recent comments from Vitalik Buterin, the co-founder of Ethereum, that he basically said the days of 1,000 times growth in the crypto space are over. They left their mark on crypto, but that's it. So he's he's pretty pessimistic on that.
So what's he trying to say? Is he trying to say like there's not going to be any more big, huge growth days, or what does he think it's going to cap out at now?
I'm not sure. He didn't clarify. He just kind of said it in passing, and then Ethereum kind of took a beating. I don't know if it's because he's still holding so much Ether that he's just like depressed at how much his portfolio took a tumble or what. But I think he is one of the most pessimistic people to come out as of late. I mean, Binance, which is the biggest exchange in the world, I believe, the CEO, he came out and said that crypto will absolutely grow 1,000 times and more. His name's Changpeng Zhao. He basically responded to Vitalik's comments. Like earlier this week, Vitalik said that while crypto as an industry could grow by 1,000-fold, it's unrealistic to think that the prices of crypto to see 1,000 times growth in the future. But Zhao thinks otherwise, as do I. I'm bullish long term on crypto, and it's seen its most explosive crypto overall has seen its most explosive growth yearly um, as most of the major cryptos went up 30 to 500 times within a 12-month period. So the industry saw like such a big growth in such a small period that it does lead me to believe that long term we're definitely trending up. There was a bubble that popped, and now we're in a bear market. We demonstrated unprecedented levels of speculation and interest that ultimately pushed Bitcoin over 20K. But overall, I think long term we're still way up, and I mean, despite Vitalik saying that based on the current valuation of the market, it's not realistic to expect the valuation of the crypto market to go from 200 billion to 200 trillion. Um, I disagree. I think that I agree with Zhao. Zhao said I disagree with this. I'll say crypto will absolutely grow 1,000 times and more. Just reaching USD market cap will give it close to 1,000 times, and that's just one currency in the world, you know. So, and then you add the derivatives market. That's just way bigger. So, I guess none of us know. We're all speculating, but I'm bullish long term.
Yeah, it's really interesting to think that two people can have such a different opinion on something that's like, one person's one extreme, one person's the other. So to me, hopefully it's somewhere in between there. But maybe
Yeah.
someone just pissed in that guy's Cheerios and he was pissed off.
That's
He's
what it
not.
sounds like. I
It's
think he,
like Jesus Christ. Just
yeah, Ethereum's been taking a beating, dude. So it's like, he's definitely not happy about that. I mean, there's lots of speculation on why Ether took such a big beating, but I think crypto as it stands right now, the technology is still like really clunky and it's not ready for mainstream adoption. It's not ready. We're not ready to go to 200 trillion total market cap, but there are catalysts in the market that are creating an acceleration of the world's adoption to blockchain and crypto. One of them is this blockchain security company called BitGo. They got regulators green light to become a crypto custodian, which is huge because hacking is such a big thing in the industry and nobody will offer insurance on crypto as it stands now. I think there might be like one or two companies that are trying to do it, but none that I've heard of that are actually like insuring crypto, just like your money would be insured inside the bank. But the American blockchain security firm BitGo received a charter from South Dakota Division of Banking, which makes it a qualified custodian for crypto, and that's pretty huge. That'll mean it's subject to they're going to be subject to regulatory scrutiny, and they're going to have to go through very strict KYC and AML checks on their customers, and they're going to have to file financial audits and monthly disclosures, and that'll really accelerate people's adoption to crypto as more and more companies get access to these type of services. It's a big missing piece in the infrastructure if you think about it.
for sure. And after like hearing that too, it sounds like with all that stuff too, with the being more transparent and having transparency and being more regulated, people might feel more comfortable to jump into that, and that, like you said, could definitely help out the market. So interesting to see where it can go in the next coming years and even after that. So it's potential for huge growth there.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a retail investor and your choice is to, have like a somewhat secure option of storing crypto yourself in offline cold storage, that's not as secure as using a third party regulated company to safely store assets if they're worth like hundreds of millions or even a billion or more. The custody solution market is definitely going to grow very rapidly, I think, in the next couple months.
Well, it should definitely, and if it's some way that you can feel more secure about your assets, then like, why not? Fuck, if you're investing all that money, you want to protect it somehow, and you
Oh,
want to feel a little
definitely.
bit secure,
Well, they're
So
not
it's
gonna
a great
invest
option.
that money if they're not confident in the security, right?
Exactly. So it has to be up to par, and I think the public or the people who are with the bitcoins will be holding up to that standard because fuck, I don't know about you, but I work hard for my money, and I want to know that it's when it's working for me, it's protected. You know,
Absolutely,
so
absolutely.
it's great to hear.
There's some cool
What else?
things coming out of crypto though right now. Like one thing I just saw recently is one of the biggest football, soccer clubs, whatever you want to call it, is launching their own cryptocurrency. Paris Saint-Germain. They're like
That's a huge team.
yeah,
That's a
they're a
big team.
giant. I think they're the biggest team in the top French league,
Yeah,
and they partnered with a blockchain company based in Malta called Socios.com, and this is a huge partnership. They basically are creating a partnership that will allow the club to launch a fan token offering, and that'll give the fans of the club branded Saint Germain club tokens, which will come with voting rights and can also give them like VIP status and add rewards to the holders. And ultimately, the fans will benefit because they'll be able to vote on actual decisions inside the club. Like they're saying cosmetic decisions, so I guess it's gonna be like stuff like choosing the team's jersey colors
yeah.
or maybe like music in the stadium or stuff like that, maybe MVP and like the player of the game, stuff like that. But it will give the fans a lot more input and incentivize them to hold the token. And the company that partnered with them says that they're focused on onboarding the biggest clubs in Europe in the coming weeks. So they're going to announce other big
Wow.
clubs who's going to join their platform outside of France, like clubs in UK, Italy, Spain, and Germany. They noted. So we'll see what comes out of there. That could be huge. The company that is partnered with this club, they have huge investors in the crypto space like Binance and other people who are very well reputed in the crypto space. So that would that would be pretty huge. I would love to see that. And I would if my team, if the Canadians had their own token, I'd buy some for sure. Montreal Canadiens, I could vote on their on whatever it may be. I would definitely hold some tokens. Wouldn't you?
Oh, 100%. First vote would be to get the GM the fuck out of there. For all you people who don't know Montreal sports, the Habs are the most storied NHL
Frustrating.
franchise, and we have the most Stanley Cups ever, 24, but they're pretty fucking frustrating now. So if you kind of get my vibe, GM needs to go, so we're pretty much near the bottom. But yeah, to turn back to your point, if we had a crypto currency or a coin for the Habs, I would definitely be in on that, like voting for warm-up songs, voting for like your favorite player, maybe like a meet and greet. So it's definitely a lot of potential in that, especially as a sports fan myself. Love to see that.
Yeah, yeah. There's also been a lot of controversy though in the last week. There's this dude. He's the founder and CEO of OKEX, crypto exchange named Star Zoo. He was detained like due to fraud. They're the second largest crypto exchange, and he was detained on allegations of fraud, and there wasn't much info that came out. And then he was later released from police, and he denied all the fraud charges. So we'll see how that story develops. He faced some problems at his hotel from like a group of investors allegedly, and there it's linked to like one of the coins. I think that it's like a blockchain Wi-Fi sharing project. They said
Mm.
that the CEO had shares in, so apparently there is some allegedly there was illicit activity on the part of that company that led those investors to kind of seek justice, and we don't know where it's going to go from here, but there's sources in China that claimed that the investors were very dissatisfied, to say the least. I'm not sure if it got violent, but Zhu denied that he had any equity involvement with the company, no equity in that WFEE token or company, whatever. He said he wasn't a shareholder in it, so he was released, and I guess he got out. He got out pretty clean. Not sure how it'll develop, but some other people who were involved in the biggest crypto scandal of 2017 and I guess into 2018, BitConnect, they're still hot on their tail. The US just they asked authorities from India to seize property of the promoters of BitConnect. So BitConnect was like a
Wow.
huge investment fraud, and authorities in U.S. In Illinois and Arizona asked the CID, which is like the police, I guess, or the criminal investigation departments. Maybe they're like the CIA or some shit. I'm not really sure, but they asked them to seize the property of several BitConnect promoters, and I mean, BitConnect was like the biggest Ponzi scheme in the last year that I know about. Well, there's another one that I know about that they're being tried by the FTC right now. I won't name any names. That's in the home business industry, but BitConnect was definitely the biggest alleged crypto Ponzi scheme that they basically got shut down in January of this year, and the CID assigned the case to some some of their detectives, and they went out and they started trying to seize the property of a couple of the promoters. So these aren't even the founders; these are just promoters who were, I guess, good marketers, and they pushed the like BitConnect was like a Ponzi scheme style, like an MLM type, and it was pretty much doomed to fail right from the beginning. If you just work out the simple math, they couldn't offer investors that much return for that long, and still be able to keep their doors open. It's just not possible. Like, it doesn't make any sense. It was confirmed as a scam when the team shut down their exchange and investing platform. They got a cease and desist from, like, a cease and desist letter from regulators in the US. And then they made a last ditch effort to squeeze more money out of their users before exit scamming with the millions already invested. So I guess it's good
Yeah.
news that these people are starting to be brought to justice. Like, they're for sure laundering money as well, so
Yeah, and these like I was just taking a look here too. These motherfuckers were telling that their investors are promising an unrealistic return of like 365%.
yeah,
Something that's fucking insane. If you were to
right.
tell me that right away, I'd be like, okay, that's a great joke. You're a sick promoter, but don't try your bullshit on me. And
Yeah.
fuck that. You gotta be a little bit smart too. Like you gotta be realistic about it. But now here's a question for you. You think by going after the promoters, if those are not the big guys, are you expecting them to kind of rat the top guys out, or what do you think their goal is with that?
Oh, they already went after the guys who executed this whole thing.
So they
And
moved all the way down to the promoters. That's how fucking
right.
wow.
Yep, they're still going
Wow.
after like
Wow.
different people inside the organization who are kind of like on the top of the pyramid. But the good
Wow.
thing about all that is, like, now we're seeing these scams. Like, it's a pretty negative situation, but if you take the little ray of positivity out of it, it's that the market is getting more experienced, and so are investors. And just recently, a US judge ruled that ICOs are covered by U.S. securities laws. So, I mean, that would be pretty big because that would start the regulation of ICOs, and we'd be able to see more, I guess, more regulatory scrutiny, but also less scamming in the whole industry. Because if you look at like in 2017 and the beginning of 2018, ICOs were absolutely massive. Like we were talking about the Ethereum price crash by like 50% in the first 2 weeks of August. Um, a lot of people are saying that the ICO boom was to blame for that because a lot of these tokens are built on Ethereum on the ERC platform. And during 2017 and the beginning of 2018, startups raise like billions of dollars, dude, through ICOs, and they're mostly denominated in Ether. They receive Ether, which was all well and good while the crypto market was going up, but now there's this company, this research firm, Dyer, who found out that most of these ICOs are still holding an average of 38% of their initially raised amounts in their treasury addresses. This is all public ledger. They can see. And
Wow.
I mean, if you think about that, if you're essentially crowdfunding to build a company and then you raise however much money, let's say $100 million worth in Ether, and then you keep 38% in Ether, that's 38 million. Well, that 38 million just diminished by like three quarters over the last like 8 months, you know? So,
That's a rough hit.
yeah, and these companies have burn rates, right? They have expenses that they have to pay for operations, like employees, operating expenses. I mean, they're taking a huge hit, and it just kind of seems like if they're holding that much ether still, this has got to be some type of just I don't know if they're just holding it to, I guess everyone is different, but it seems like they're just trying to make money off their investors' funds, and now they took such a big hit that they can't even cash it out because they're just be, signing their own death warrant pretty much.
Well, they'd be taking a nice, huge loss. So you're right. That doesn't have any benefit for them. So we'll see what they do with that. But fuck, kind of,
Yeah, a lot of the
kind of risk.
companies they have to continue selling ether to cover their burn rate, their operating expenses, and fund the business. So it's kind of important to realize like these companies aren't generating new revenue, and they most likely probably will never generate new revenue, which in turn creates like a big pressure to sell ether, and that could be why the price was affected so much, not only by because of like the actual market, the state of the market, but because these ICO companies are liquidating tons of ether to cover their expenses.
Yeah, that should be. It'll be interesting to keep your eye on this and kind of see where this goes with that because it's very interesting. Very, very interesting.
Yeah.
They almost would be part of my risk it for the biscuit. Fucking
Ether, yeah,
creepers.
it could be a decent buy right now, but we're not going to do a risk it for the biscuit this week just because the market is in such a shitty state that it just doesn't make sense. Like, chances are in the coming weeks, you're going to say, wow, this stuff is way on sale, compared to this week. So I wouldn't get into any alts right now.
All right. Fuck the alts for this week. We'll leave them. You know what I have, Dan? I just came up with a great idea.
What's
We're just
that?
gonna do. I'm gonna just drop a little funny story here. I like to call this "Is there still faith in humanity?" Okay. So,
Okay,
let me
let's
start off.
hear it.
Buckle your seatbelt. hopefully you have a little laugh. Might not be that funny. Well, anyways, well, fuck you. Here it goes. Okay. So, as you guys all know, I work for a tech company, so I deal with people on a daily basis, and I have one quick little funny story that comes to my mind. So, as I was in store, I had a nice old raggedy lady come up to me, and poor old lady, one of her devices, she was like, you know what? It's not charging. I said, okay, well, let's try it out. Okay. So first thing I look at her charger, I say, Miss, where did you buy this? In my head, I was more thinking, Miss, this is an absolute piece of shit phony. Of course, your fucking charger's not working. But I couldn't tell her that, right? So basically, I worded it to her nicely. I said, well, where did you buy this? Well, I bought it at the dollar store, you know. So I said, okay, you get what you pay for, you know. Try to make a joke. She didn't really crack up and she didn't really understand. So I said, look, if you need your device to charge, you need to buy the real shit. You need to buy the shit that's compatible, right? So I gladly go over to the wall. I grab it for her. I show it to her, and then this is the funny part. Okay, so I ask her. She said she kind of asked me, so how does it work? You know, I said, so well, you take the cable, you plug the cable into your device, and then you take the square where it has the USB port, you plug it into the USB port, and then she goes to me. She goes, yeah, and then the rest, I'll just. I'll just plug it into wherever I need for it to work. And I said, yeah, the wall, as I was trying to make fun of her. And then she goes to me, and then I look at her and I go, so do you have any walls at home? And she was actually pretty witty, and I thought I had beat her. And she goes, no, I live in a fucking tent. And I'm like, okay. And then after that, we had a good little chuckle. One thing I learned from this story is respect your elders. Don't always be a douchebag. But she restored my faith in humanity. That's all I got for this week.
Fuck, bud.
Probably,
I mean, they should definitely get you out of customer support ASAP.
hey, you say it with a smile, but on the inside, you're ready to rip their fucking head off. But either way, that's a day in the life of producer Kraz. So
Real
next,
news, realer opinions here on Barstool Bitcoin.
and you got it, boys. You fucking got it.
So we're gonna close out this ep with another little story here. We talk about margin trading quite a bit, and before I do the ad read for our sponsor, I wanted to go through a little story with you guys to help you protect your investments when margin trading. So, long story short, this dude started trading about a year ago, and he made some Bitcoin through playing like online poker. He had 3 Bitcoins and that he made from playing poker, and through this whole run up, he turned it into almost 200 Bitcoins, which is like 4 million bucks at the top of the price, and at current prices, that's like like 1.5 million. So this guy thought he was like a genius, he thought he was God, and this is where his sadness started. So after the dump from 19K to 11K, he calls it the bottom, but he's like, I went long at the bottom, so he bet on it to go up from 11K, and he kept adding to his position on the bounce to 12K, 13K. Then at 16K, there was a dead cat, and his position was another 100 Bitcoins in profit. So he was up to like 300 Bitcoins. And instead of closing and having a total of 300 Bitcoins going to live, whatever life he wanted to live, he just made 100x return on his 3 Bitcoins. He increased the leverage and increased his position size. And then his entire position was liquidated on the drop back to 12K because his entry had moved up so much. He kept aggregating his buys. So he lost 100 Bitcoins right there, and he was like devastated, in depression, down to 150 Bitcoins total. He said he evaluated the situation and came to the conclusion that the pump to 16K was a dead cat bounce and that we're going lower. So Then he decided to short. I don't know what he's basing his decisions on, but he decided to short at 12K. Then he added to the position at 13K, added to the position at 14K and 15K again, then got liquidated at the top at 17K. Another 50 Bitcoins lost. So now he's at 100 Bitcoins. Most people would think, like, take it right now. Like, you just fucked up. You still have 100 Bitcoins, that you got from 3 Bitcoins. But no, this guy had to go back for more, right? Like, not basing his decisions on any technicals, no fundamental analysis. He was just purely an emotional investor. So he had 50, or no, he had 100 Bitcoins left. Then the uptrend was back on. He went long and he got liquidated again at 13K. Lost another 50 Bitcoins. So he's got 50 Bitcoins left from 3. Still a good profit. He was pretty devastated, obviously, understandable. But he sat through a drop. Bitcoin went down to 9K, like just under 10K. And when it bounced, he thought it was the bottom. So he longed again at 11,500, and then panic closed at 10,500. But then it bounced up to 13K. So he was like so rattled at himself for panic closing that he went long again at 12,800. His words
What's wrong with this guy? He's
his
crazy.
words are literally liquidated this morning for my last Bitcoin. 3 Bitcoins to 300 to 0. So he's definitely was in shock. I'm sure the last couple months were pretty rough for him, daydreaming about, living the high life, rich as fuck, millionaire. But now he's trying to, I guess, grind for those 3 Bitcoins again on online poker. So the moral of the story, boys, is don't gamble away money. Don't gamble away Bitcoin. Research the fundamentals, get access to proper trading groups, and make sure you make decisions backed by logic and not backed by emotion. And we have a free Telegram group, a free signals group for margin trading that you can get access to. I'll leave the link in the show notes. And you can see how professional traders are trading. If you look at any professional trader and ask them how many positions they take a month, the answer is always single digit. They're not trading every single day. They're not margin trading every single day. Margin trading is one of the riskiest trades you can make, whether to long or short. And I suggest you get access to our group if you want a margin trade. We created this just for you so that you can get access to signals and you can have a more informed opinion before acting on emotion. But that's that. That brings me to the end of the episode. Any last words for the listeners, Kraser?
Yeah, boys and girls, thanks for listening. Really appreciate it. I had a lot of fun today. Keep on tuning in because we got good shit coming up for you. Stay tuned for next week. I can't wait, Dan. It's
Yeah,
going to be a
next
good
week
one.
we got a guest. We got the Wolf of Bitcoins on, so we'll see you guys next week. And looking forward to making that episode. I enjoyed making this episode as I always do. Had a lot of fun. Thanks for listening to the Pod Boys, and thank you to our sponsor. This episode was brought to you by BitMEX, a cryptocurrency derivatives trading platform. But don't fuck up. Do not fuck up. Don't go from 3 Bitcoins to 300 to 0, okay? But BitMEX is the easiest way to margin trade. So if you do want to get access to that, I'll leave you the registration link in the show notes, as well as the registration link for our free Telegram group. Both of them are free to join. They work in whatever country you're in, pretty much. On BitMEX, you can use up to 100 times leverage, and you could trade without expiry dates. So it's pretty quick to sign up. It takes like 30 seconds. You just need an email and that's it pretty much. And just hop in the show notes section for the link to sign up so you can start trading in minutes, but make sure you get access to our Telegram group as well. Thanks, guys. See you next week.